All right, thanks, guys. The Knicks take on the Wizards, 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the nation's capital. The Knicks are the 3.5-point favorite away from home. Totals 218 flat. And if you like the Wizards in an upset at home here, they're plus $1.40 on the money line. Now, I'm 4-1 in my last 5 daily best plays on my website. I'm also hitting at 67% in my last 21 premium picks in that very same tier membership as well. I currently have over 1,250 members that are currently signed up and active on that page. I also have nearly 28,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And despite going through a really rough stretch over the past couple of weeks, the Knicks have still successfully covered the point spread in 3 out of their last 4 contests. They're also 4-3 against the number in their last 7. New York leads the NBA defensively in points allowed, and they're also leading the NBA defensively in defending the 3-ball. They're holding their opponents to just 42% shooting from the field when they travel. Now, Julius Randle leads the Knicks in scoring with over 22 points a game, along with double-digit rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, R.J. Barrett is scoring 17 points a night, along with 6 rebounds and 3 assists himself. Now, another thing to note, I always find this interesting here. I've been following these guys all season. Randall, Barrett, Payton, and Robinson, they've all started in all 26 of New York's games this season. Now, the Knicks are giving up just 103 points a game when they travel. They're taking on a Washington team who, unfortunately, will have to go to work tonight without the efforts of Bradley Beal. That's certainly devastating because he is responsible for over 32 points a night. Now, the Wizards have lost 7 out of their last 10, and they find themselves winning just 20% of their home games straight up. Washington is dead last in the NBA in defending the 3-ball, dead last in points allowed at home. Washington is giving up almost 127 points a night at the Capital One Arena. Now, total-wise, Washington has gone 80% to the over on their home court this season. The Knicks saw contests with Miami, the Clippers, and Portland get over the line themselves over the past couple of weeks. I'm going to lean toward the New York Knicks minus 3.5 and the over 218. And if you're new here today or this week, just want to take another quick time out and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's NBA basketball action. Happy Friday to you. The weekend is finally here. Now, my name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And before we go ahead and move on here, I just want to quickly remind you once again that I'm 4-1 in my last 5 daily best plays on my website, 67% my last 21 premium picks in that very same category. I currently have over 1,250 members who are signed up and active on that page, and I am slowly approaching 28,000 YouTube subscribers on this YouTube channel as well. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next contest. It is going to be Pelicans versus the Mavericks, 7:30 p.m. East. The Dallas Mavericks are minus 3 at home, numbers 232 flat. But as good as the Mavericks have been, playing over the past week or so, Dallas is actually one of the worst covering teams in the association right now. 0-4 against the number in their last 4 straight. 1-9 against the spread in their last 10. Dallas has really struggled on their home court this season. Winners of just 5 of 12 contests at the American Airlines Center. Dallas is in the bottom 5 defensively in points allowed at home. Bottom 3 in home defensive field goal percentage. Now, one more thing here about Dallas. They are a pitiful 2-10 against the spread on their home court this season. They're taking on a Pels team who won 4 out of their last 5 ball games themselves, and they also went 4-1 against the number in those 5 contests, getting people paid. The Pels are leading the NBA in road defensive rebounding. They're also in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage on the road as well. Zion Williamson's scoring 23 points a game, along with 7 boards and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Brandon Ingram scoring over 23 a game himself, along with 5 boards and 4 assists as well. The Pelicans rank in the top 5 in offensive rebounding, and when it comes to the total on this one, New Orleans saw 3 out of their last 5 stay under the line, throwing out the Chicago game. The Pels also saw 6 out of their last dozen road games stay under the number as well. I'm going to lean toward the underdog New Orleans Pelicans +3 and the under 232. Next contest, I'm taking a look here at the Clippers versus the Bulls. 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Chicago. The LA Clippers are -6.5 on the road. Totals 228 flat. Now the Clippers are going to have to go to work without the efforts of Paul George here tonight. Certainly a big blow to them. He's the Clippers' second leading scorer with 24 points a game. Certainly an area of concern for Clippers backers here. Having said that, though, looks like Kawhi's healthy, and he's going to give it a go here tonight. 26 points a night for Kawhi, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for the NBA champion. The Clippers are 10-4 straight up on the road this season, and they covered in 64% of those contests. Now, the Clippers are in the top 5 defensively in points allowed, first in defensive rebounding. So, if you're backing the Clippers, hopefully they can shut down the Bulls defensively. They're taking on a Chicago team who lost 6 out of their last 9, and they give up 116 points a game. Now, the Bulls are in the bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage, and they also rank in the bottom 10 offensively in rebounds per game. Porter, Hutchison, and Markkanen are still out. Wendell Carter is doubtful. The Bulls have been victorious in just 4 out of their last 12 ball games at the United Center. Now, total-wise, 2 out of Chicago's last 3 stayed under the line, 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Meanwhile, the Clippers went 5-1 to the under in their last 6 trips to the Windy City themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers, -6.5, and the under 228. Next contest, it is going to be Pistons versus the Celtics, 8 p.m. Eastern start time at the Garden. The Celtics are -8 in Beantown, totals 214.5. Now, Boston is covering 78% of their ball games at the Garden this year, 6-3 straight up in those home games. And despite a possible off night here for Kemba Walker, might see him taking a little bit of a rest here tonight. Jason Tatum, he's still leading the charge with 26 points a night, along with 6 boards and 4 assists. Jaylen Brown, he's also scoring 26 points a game himself, along with 5 rebounds and a trio of assists as well. The Celtics are in the top 10 defensively in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding. Now they're taking on a Detroit team who may have to compete tonight without Plumlee and Jackson. And regardless of if those two play or not, Detroit has lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games, just 1-11 straight up when they travel. Now the Pistons are dead last in the association in defensive field goal percentage, dead last in road offensive rebounding as well. The Pistons are giving up nearly 120 points a game away from home, and they're letting their opponents make 51% of their field goals in that same category. Now, total-wise, Detroit saw 2 out of their last 3 ball games get over the number, 9-3 to the over when they travel. Meanwhile, 4 out of the Celtics' last 5 got over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Boston Celtics -8 in the over 214.5. All right, next ball game. We're going to take a look here at the Thunder versus the Nuggets, 9 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Denver. The Nuggets are the 12-point favorite at home, totals 221.5. But despite being the clear-cut favorite to win this one tonight, the Nuggets are going to have to go to work without the efforts of Gary Harris and possibly PJ Dozier again. Denver's also lost 3 out of their last 4 contests, and they went just 2-4 against the number in their last 6. The Nuggets give up 113 points a night at the Ball Arena, and they rank in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage. They're taking on an OKC squad who, despite being heavily depleted roster-wise, they successfully covered the point spread in their last 3 straight, and they also went 70% against the number in their last 10. So these guys do have the ability to cover the number even when they're banged up. Now keep in mind here, the Thunder's leading scorer, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's going to sit this one out tonight, so that should scare away a lot of square money on OKC, in my opinion. That said, though, we're still looking at an OKC team who has a winning record on the road, and they covered the number in 77% of those contests away from home. Now, Horford and Diallo are both averaging over a dozen a game. If you're wondering who's actually going to score for the Thunder here tonight, And total-wise, oddly enough, OKC's last 3 straight did get over the line. I don't think that's going to be a popular play here today, but their last 3 straight did get over the line. 6-3 to the over in their last 9. Meanwhile, Denver saw 75% of their home games this season get over the number themselves. I don't think this is going to be a popular lean here. I'm leaning toward OKC plus 12, keeping it close, and the over 221.5. All right, next matchup. Bucks versus the Jazz, 9 p.m. Eastern start time in Utah. The Jazz are minus 2.5 at home. Totals 233 and a hook. And if you like the Bucks in an upset on the road here, they're plus $1.30 for some money line cash. Now the Bucks are going to have a kind of a slight edge here as Mike Conley's been ruled out with a hammy for the Jazz. Having said that, though, Utah, keep in mind, they have incredible depth, and the Bucks are covering in just 42% of their road games. Now, in addition to ranking in the bottom 3 in the NBA and defending the 3 ball on the road, the Bucks have also failed to cover the point spread in 7 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Jazz. They went just 3-7 straight up in those ball games. Now, the Bucks are also allowing nearly 115 points a game away from their home court this season, and they're taking on just an absolutely blazing red-hot Utah team who, despite having to, once again, go to work here tonight without Mike Conley, these guys have won 16 out of their last 17 contests, and they find themselves winning 83% of their home games. Now, Utah's 10-2 against the spread at the Vivint Smart Home Arena, and they lead the NBA in offensive rebounding. These guys have been getting a lot of people paid this year. Donovan Mitchell scoring 24 points a game along with 4 boards and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Jordan Clarkson scoring over 17 a night off the bench along with 4 rebounds a game himself. Utah leads the NBA defensively in points allowed at home, and they also lead the association in home defensive rebounding as well. Now, total-wise, Utah's 5-4 to the under in their last 9, 7-5 to the under on their home court. Meanwhile, 2 out of Milwaukee's last 3 stayed under the number themselves, throwing out the Phoenix game. I'm going to lean toward the Utah Jazz minus 2.5 and the under 233 and a hook. All right. Next ball game, it is going to be Magic versus the Kings, 10 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Sacramento. The Kings are minus 8.5, totals 223 and a hook. But as much as, people are loving the Kings right now, this is like kind of a big number for them to be laying, in my opinion. They're only playing .500 basketball at home, and they're actually covering just 42% of their home games. Sacramento is dead last in the NBA in home defensive field goal percentage, and they allow over 120 points a game at the Golden One Center. Meanwhile, offensively, they're last in the NBA in free throw percentage. They're making less than 72% of their foul shots. Now, I get it. Orlando is certainly not much to look at right now. They've been playing some pretty bad basketball. Although, keep in mind, they are coming fresh off a very nice cover against Golden State. They also covered the number against Chicago a week ago, where they put up 123 points in that victory. So these guys aren't completely helpless. They're incredibly banged up right now, that's for sure. Mason Fournier, Carter Williams, Aminu, and Gordon, they're all on the injury report. Having said that, though, it does look like Nick Vucevic is going to be in action here tonight. He's going to be in the lineup. 23 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3 steals for the 6'11 center. Meanwhile, Terrence Ross is scoring nearly 15 a game himself off the bench, along with a couple of rebounds. The Magic actually rank in the top 3 in offensive rebounding, so keep that in mind as well. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, big-time scores out for Orlando. They also saw their last 3 straight stay under the line. Now, the Kings, on the other side, they saw 4 out of their last 6 ball games stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog, Orlando Magic, plus 8.5, and the under 223 and a hook. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into my next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Grizzlies versus the Lakers, 10 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, the Lakers are minus 7 at home, numbers 220 flat. But despite their current winning streak right now, LA's failed to cover the number in their last 3 straight, and they also posted a record of just 2-7 against the number in their last 9. Now, as usual, AD and LeBron are both listed as questionable. Caruso and Dudley are also questionable for the Lakers as well. Los Angeles is in the bottom 10 in shooting the three ball at home. They're also in the bottom 10 in shooting from the stripe. Now, the Lakers are currently covering just 33% of their ball games as the official home team. They're taking on a Memphis club who's won 6 out of their last 10 themselves, and they covered the number 60% of the time during that stretch. Memphis has played very well on the road this season as well. 6-3 straight up and against the number when they travel. Top 10 in the NBA in road scoring. John Morant scoring 18 points a game along with 2 rebounds, 7 assists. Meanwhile, Jonas Valanciunas is scoring nearly 16 a game himself along with 11 rebounds as well. Memphis scores over 115 points a game when they travel, and they also rank in the top 10 in road defensive rebounding as well. Now, total-wise, Memphis is 3-0 to the over in their last 3 straight, 6-1 to the over in their last 7. Meanwhile, the Lakers saw their last 3 straight get over the line themselves, 8-4 to the over as the official home team. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Memphis Grizzlies +7 and the over 220. And with that, guys, we are going to dive into our quick pick recap, which are all the picks I made for this video in about 30 seconds for your convenience. I like the Knicks -3.5 over 218. I'm also leaning toward the Pelicans +3 under 232. I also like the LA Clippers -6.5 under 228. I also find myself leaning toward the Boston Celtics -8 over 214.5. I like OKC +12 over 221 and a hook. I also like the Utah Jazz -2.5 under 233 and a hook. I'm leaning toward the Orlando Magic +8.5 under 230. Let's try that again. The Orlando Magic +8.5 under 223.5. Before I give you my next and final matchup for the show here, one final reminder that I've won 4 out of my last 5 daily best plays on my website. I'm also hitting at 14-7 my last 21 premium picks in that very same tier membership as well. I'm going to lean toward the Memphis Grizzlies +7 and the over 220. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Emerson Rodriguez, Javi Pena, DJ Wavy, Brian Resnikoff. Shout out to Bear Hug, Jay Boswell, V. Rudy, Gucci Love, Matt McPeak, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, Blaine Medvick. And with that, guys, that is going to do it for me. Got to thank you for joining me here today. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you here today. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Have a good one now.